All right, folks, back on the Bossman show here with Bellarmine Knights head coach Scott Davenport out of the A-Sun. They'll be playing Kansas State this year. Coming down here to see those Owls up the road from here. So, Coach Davenport, how are you and your staff doing up there in Louisville, man?
Everybody's good. Everybody's good. You know, these young guys keep you good because they're resilient. No matter what you throw at them, it's like if you run a mile race and you get an eighth of a mile from the finish line and they go, no, we're going to run 2 miles. They're okay. They're okay. You know, I think a true love for the game is an important part of recruiting because that's a talent. You know, when you care and when you're passionate, that's a talent. That's a skill too. That's not just being able to run, jump, and put a ball in a basket. And I really, really appreciate our guys and their passion for the game.
Now, Coach, let's go back to March here when everything kind of got shut down. How's that for you and your team, man? I know you're probably getting ready for the tournament and everything that's kind of shut down, and guys had to go home from being on campus, going virtual. So how was it for your young men dealing with the adversity of the pandemic, then academically being at home and being virtual? How was it for you and your young men?
Well, we've always had a philosophy here and it's built on over years. As a senior, you never want to take your jersey off for the last time. You know, it's Division II basketball. The likelihood of playing past college is not a guarantee. We've had 17 of them play beyond here, but it's surely not a guarantee. And we were in the middle of spring break. And you never want to take your jersey off for the last time, but you never want to take it off from playing with that group of teammates for the last time. So we're in spring break, and we had practice on that Thursday. We had film at 11:30, practice at 12:15, and then we were going over to have a team meal. We had a private room set up because the campus is closed, spring break. Mm-hmm. Come back, film that night. The next morning, we're going to get up, have practice at 10 o'clock, and then get on the bus and go to Indianapolis for the NCAA tournament. And in between practice ending at 2:45 and reporting at 5 o'clock to the meal, the tournament was.
Wow.
We end up in a private room. Our families came, the staff's families came. We closed the door. And it was very, very emotional because those players, they never got to take their jersey off for the last time. They took it off in practice, went to have a meal. They're going to maybe get shots up that night, get ready. You know, the NCAA tournament, we're leaving the next day. And the season's canceled. It was tough. It was tough. And those 4 seniors, Chris Palambizio, Alex Cook, Ben Wire, Parker Chitty, were 4 tremendous, tremendous young men that I will always have just an unbelievable bit of pain for them because they never got to take their jersey off for the last time. But the positive of it, we have 11 guys back from that team, and they have driven themselves every single day. And I think part of it's that emptiness they felt that afternoon in March.
Most definitely, Coach. And, I can only imagine for those young men the gut punch. Because it's hearing you describe it, it hurts me for them because, you want to have that last experience to say, hey, I played it to my last, and all of a sudden a pandemic comes and it just wipes me out, and it's just over like so fast, like that snap of the finger is done, and it does leave you empty feeling inside, like, oh my goodness, like wow.
But again, the resiliency of these young people, it's amazing how resilient they are. They are amazing. I've always been an advocate of young people because I don't have any grandkids. I got one. I have a granddaughter that's 2 years old.
Oh, wow.
And, I kid our players all the time that they're the answer. She needs them. She needs them to be great. They can't just be okay. They got to be great because there's a lot of questions in society right now, a lot of levels. And these young people are the answer. It's not me. These young people are the answer. So, I've got great faith in them. And more than that, I got great admiration for what these young people do. They're amazing.
Now, Coach, how did you all handle them being at home, being back in their environments virtually? How was that this offseason of spring and summer here? How was that?
I should have taken all my investment capital that I own in the world invested in Zoom.
Yes, he should have.
Oh my gosh. We try to be as supportive and as creative from an academic standpoint, an athletic standpoint, a morale standpoint, mentally, as you could. We had Zoom calls, you name it. Like I had it set up, but Allen Houston, who's a vice president of the New York Knicks, who's an NBA great, played for me in high school. And Allen just turned 50 years old. I mean,
Oh,
he's from a
wow.
totally different era. And Allen crashed one of our Zoom calls one day, and our players were, I kind of tipped them off. They knew about him, and they were going crazy, and just it wouldn't end. It kept going, and kept going, and kept going, and he's asking them questions, and they're asking him things. It was great. The city of Louisville's had a lot of unrest. We've had a very, very difficult stretch, and the spokesman from our Louisville Metro Police Department is an African American, a gentleman named Dwight Mitchell. I've known Dwight for 35 years, and Dwight joined a Zoom call one night, and he addressed a lot of issues point blank. He's the spokesman for the Louisville Metro Police Department.
Oh, wow.
I mean, something tragic happens, and he has to show up and give an explanation. And we had Dwight. I've had former players join. We've watched motivational videos together. We've had people in the business sector join us, people from the military who served our country, you name it, just trying to keep everybody engaged. But most important, to be there for our guys. If it's once, twice, 3 times a week, just to be there for them. Again, mentally as well as physically. The physical part, get them to where they can work on their body and their game, etc. Yeah, that's one thing, but being a resource for them where they can feel very comfortable. Like, Coach, what do you think about Coach, what's going to happen with this? And trying to keep them in tune to the news, to what's going on. We encouraged them, stay engaged. It's funny, everybody made this big issue about being registered to vote, and we had it done when we came back. We were
Wow.
way ahead of it.
Yes, you
We were
were.
way ahead of it. Well, I mean, we were like, hey, we had 2 players, and we said, okay, you got to get engaged, and this is, you're going to do this. It's going to last a lifetime. So just different things. Believe me, when I had all that idle time on my mind, man, my mind was working, racing 100 miles an hour.
Coach, do you take any time for yourself over the pandemic break? I know some coaches have told me they picked up new hobbies over the pandemic. What about you? Did you take some time for yourself to kind of find something you want to do?
No, I ran more miles. I
Ran
was
more
up
miles.
between 38 and 45 miles a week, and that's carried over.
Wow, and that's amazing. I mean, I need to get on your regiment, Coach.
Watch what you wish for now. You better watch out. Watch what you wish for.
Hey, Coach, I have my little stepper here, my little exercise bike in the other room. I feel bad now. Just ride 30 minutes on my bike a day. I need to get like Coach Davenport.
That's where I would get lost. I would get lost, and I'd be thinking, who are we going to Zoom with? How are we going to do this? Let's talk to this guy. And the whole time, it went through, boss. It was 3 stages. The very first stage, it was like the longest snow day ever. When you have a snow day and school's canceled, you're real excited. You're like, man, I don't have to go to school. And that was kind of cool, but that didn't last. It lasted too long. Then the second stage, I'll never forget, we had a Zoom, and I told our players, I said, guys, these are very humbling times. These times are humbling us, because think of it, we were having a Zoom, and I had 15 players and a staff, Knoxville, Columbus, Ohio, Evansville, Indiana, Louisville, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, all over the Midwest. And we can all look at each other just like I'm looking at you right now. And I said, guys, if I tell you to go on some scavenger hunt, all you got to do is put an address in your phone, and you find it just like that. And we can do everything, right? I said, but we can't figure this out. We can't figure it out. I said, this is humbling times because we think we can do everything. You know, we can
Yes,
Zoom. We
sir.
don't have to meet face to face, coach. We'll have a Zoom. But we couldn't figure this out. So we went from being, you know, like the longest snow day, we were excited. Then it was very, very humbling. And it was a very down time. And then I think the last stage, in a way we're there to this day, is the smartest people in the world, in the entire world, can't figure this out. And they're
Hmm.
trying 24/7. They're working at trying to come up with a vaccine and how we stop the spread and how we do this and all the entire world. And, you know, we can't figure this out. And that's tough. So you kind of go back and you get in your bubble, so to speak, and just win the day. Just let's win the day. And I know that sounds coach cliche. I get it. But really, that's where we are right now.
No, it's
And we
true,
just keep,
coach.
it is.
It's
It is.
true.
It's very, I mean, the smartest people in the world can't figure this out. And they're working 24/7. So, you know, we have to lean on each other, be there for each other, and understand priorities in terms of doing what's right, being disciplined, taking care of school, taking care of your body, and working on your basketball, period.
And for me, coach, the positive in the pandemic is I'm able to see people I talk to. And it's not just a phone anymore. I can see guys now I talk to like you and me for the first time. I can see you can see me because, you know, that's the thing I told my godfather and my dad about this. I said, the only thing good about this is I can see my guests now. You know, that's the only thing that's good about this pandemic. I can see my guests now. It's not the phone. Now I'll see you in person when you come to Atlanta or I come to a game. You can see me now. Oh, okay, that's JR. He's a cool guy. He's a nice guy. See my demeanor.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So that's something good about this is this right here.
Well, I mean, you think about me personally. There was a time where, because of precaution, and she lives 4 minutes away, and we were not allowed to see our granddaughter.
Wow.
She lives 4 minutes away. But you know, we would Zoom with her. You know, so many, and you know, she wasn't even 2 years old, and she's like, "Well, pop, pop," you know, and you know there are. But I think what'll happen, it will make us appreciative, more appreciative of every minute of every day. And I hope through this, we become a more respectful, considerate society. I really do. I think if we respect the things we have, if we appreciate them, and we're more considerate of other people, maybe in the end, maybe it'll help us all. That's we've got to grab onto that.
Yes, sir. And coach, let me ask you, as far as scheduling games, you know, you lost 2 weeks here. It's now the 25th of November, and I know you transitioned from D2 to D1 now in A-Sun. How trying to schedule games? You know, have to raise money as well for the university. So
Uh,
how was that whole monster been for you?
Well, it's now 12 minutes after 11, and I came up. There's a radio doing live from our locker room today, and I think when I came up, it was about 10:45. I don't think our schedule's changed since then, but I haven't checked. Maybe it has. You have to be flexible and you have to work with each other. But I will give college basketball credit. Dan Gavitt, the executive director of the NCAA of men's college basketball, has had a plan all along. And the A-Sun had a plan all along. You know, football, I think, as being a football fan and a fan of college athletics, you know, way back in March, I think there was a certain mentality that, you know, we'll be okay. We're talking about September. We'll be fine. Then it was like, whoa, we better get ourselves together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the NCAA football is run conference to conference. It's not run by a governing body like the NCAA basketball is. So I think Dan Gavitt being in charge of it and taking over and saying, okay, here we're going to move back your beginning of practice, and now we're going to move back our start date of games, and we're going to work together. I think it's been so fluid, but it gives me a lot of hope because there's going to be setbacks. We've seen setbacks in football.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about this. There's 356 Division I college basketball teams. I mean, it's law of averages.
Oh
There's
yeah.
going to be setbacks. The first 3 weeks of college football, 22.3% of the games were either canceled or postponed. And that's a limited number, only playing once a week. We're talking 356 college basketball teams playing once or twice, maybe 3 times a week. So we're going to have to stay flexible. And again, that's why Dan Gavitt put a minimum number of games, 13, a maximum number of games, at 27. But I think we're trying to stay ahead of it and be as flexible and work together as much as we can. But it's difficult. Bo Braden on our staff has led us in that regard, and he has been a superstar, no doubt.
And travel-wise in the Sun for you was not that bad because Lipscomb's and Nashville 2 hours away from you. Atlanta is not that far from Louisville. North Alabama is not that far from Nashville. So, like,
No, Liberty, you're right.
Liberty. So, mercifully, you won't have your worst travel is probably going to be to Jacksonville and North Florida. Probably be your worst travel, probably. If I'm
And Gulf Coast and
and
Stetson.
Gulf Coast, yeah. So,
That's it.
you can probably get away with busing most games and having to fly to Florida.
Well, right now
and
we think
avoid
there'll
that.
be 2 trips. 2 trips will require flights. That's where we are right now. That's what it looks like. Non-conference, right? And we're in a basketball-rich area here with a lot of colleges in the Midwest. So, yeah, we're trying to be as prudent as we can and having a great schedule, but trying to also generate revenue for the athletic department. Now, it's a big task, but our schedule, like I said, it hadn't changed since I came up here. At least they haven't told me.
Now, Coach, the good thing about going D1 now, you have 13 scholarships now. In D2, you had 10 that you can kind of split however you want to split them. So, how's it been? Having full 13 now and everybody has some walk-ons. He had 11 guys already to give them all scholarships now and add 2 more guys and have some walk-ons. How's that been for you?
Boss, that's amazing, JR. You're the first one to ask me that. It's more difficult. Let me tell you why. In Division II, having 10, you could divide them. 2 years ago, we had 17 because of the high level of academics. We literally had 17 full scholarship. Last year, we had 16. Now 13 means 13. So we were handcuffed. We had 4 seniors last year. Just do the math. That means we had 1 signee. I mean, we were handcuffed. And it'll take us 2 or 3 recruiting cycles to get back to where we're bringing in normal size classes. And it's been very difficult. It's been incredibly difficult. You're the first person to ask me that. That's a great question.
Yeah, because I really do care about the smaller schools. Cause I know a lot of the Power Fives get all the plug, but the little guys,
Yeah.
you need some plug too. I want to be a champion for you guys because I came from Tennessee State University, so I know how it is in a low
Right.
major school. I know how it is. I've seen what resources are, our facilities. I know what a kid at a lower major school has to deal with at D1. I've seen D2 as well. I've seen it right in my face. Because let's come down the road before they came up. I saw it, so I know how it is for you guys making a transition up to D1. So I really feel for you guys, and I want people to understand it. It's not easy as you think. We're going D1. A lot of things you have to kind of transition into and go over to get there and make it become a full member as well.
Oh, it's an incredible. I call it a good busy though. It's a good busy. I mean, and I'll say this to you, JR. Last year, looking back, I think will end up being the most difficult year I'll ever coach in my life. And and I coached as Coach Denny Crum retired at Louisville, and that was difficult. I coached as Coach Patino came to Louisville. That was difficult. But last year, June 17th of 2019, we announced our transition. Well, we had an entire year of 19 and 20, an entire season. And as everybody in this community was so excited, people on this campus were excited. Everywhere you went, oh, your son plays basketball at Bellarmine. Wow, they're going D1. Well, Alex Cook and Ben Wire and Chris Palambizio and Parker Chitty were seniors. They wasn't going D1. Mm-hmm. So we vowed to our players we would never utter one syllable about next year. And we didn't. And then our year ends, pandemic hits. Wow. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it was tough. But, you know, again, you take care of, put those players first. Proud of all four of them. They've all got a minimum of 1 degree from Bellarmine, working on 2. And they're all going to be successful. And they will always have a very, very special place in this program, no doubt. But moving forward, you know, you had at the same time, you had to be prepared. You had to be recruiting. You had to be scheduling. I mean,
Yes.
everything was new. And a lot of it was unknown, not just new, it was unknown. So it's okay. The unknown's good. We're ready to go.
Now, how has it been for us kind of get film on the guys watching the film through the film system that you guys have? Look, kind of kicking up North Alabama, Kennesaw, and Lipscomb and Liberty. And I see what you're up against when you get in conference play here, because those teams are tough. Every night here, I see it right here in my backyard. Those games are a barn burner
Now,
every time
you
out
know,
there.
we've done our homework there, but I think what you're going to find in the pandemic in general, a lot of teams are going to play different. A lot of changes were made because there was a lot of interacting going on, clinics virtually and sharing of new ideas and maybe new styles of play. So, and then with the transfers that you always have in college basketball, and then this coming January, it looks like there's going to be a lot more of them. Things are going to be constantly changing, but we'll hold true to playing the way we play. Now, obviously, we're playing tremendous competition. Nobody will have more respect for the competition than we will. Trust me.
And Coach, you've been so successful at Bellarmine. I mean, I saw the record you have, man. Your record in the Great Lakes Conference was like, man, you were doing some things there. So you have a
Well,
great
it wasn't
tradition
always
already.
like that. It wasn't always like that, believe me.
Yeah, but I saw the record. I said, man, Coach Davenport doing those great things. And you've coached with some great people like Coach Crum and Coach Patino. I've been watching those games when I was a youngster, watching you guys play Kentucky and stuff like that. So how was Bells playing Kentucky versus Louisville? How was that? 'Cause I know that's a big rivalry up there. You the Louisville or you UK up there?
Woo! It was, it's tough because um, there's no words to describe what it gets like going up to that game. From a coaching standpoint, you can't escape it. I mean, it's impossible, especially in this day and age of the social media. And I mean, you can't. There's people. Sports makes people crazy, and there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of. I know this. My wife quit going to those games.
Oh
We would
wow.
go to take our family when we would play in Lexington, and it just became so difficult. I mean, it was tough. And then it was magnified when Coach Patino leaves Kentucky and goes to the Celtics. Then he comes back, of all places, he comes back to Louisville. Uh, that was tough. I mean, that was tough. But those were games to be a part of them. The preparation that went into those games was incredible because the stakes were so high, and it was a non-conference basketball game. At the end of the day, it was a non-conference basketball game. But no, that wasn't your approach. It was incredible. I mean, I've said forever, and I've got unbelievable respect for Duke and Carolina and NC State and that Tobacco Road, but the greatest college basketball fans are right here. And the numbers don't lie. It's 18 straight years the NCAA tournament highest market in the country has been this Louisville market.
Wow.
18 straight years. The highest market on CBS has been right here. I mean, it's a 3-week holiday here. It's like 3 weeks of when you get into March here, it's like 3 weeks of Christmas.
Oh yeah. I feel like the NBA should come there a little. I feel like they come to Louisville. I feel like they should expand to Louisville and play
Yeah,
at the Yum Center, and
been a lot
move
of talk. Been a
move
lot of talk.
Memphis to the Eastern Conference with Louisville and put
Yeah.
KC and Seattle in the Western Conference. It'll be perfect. For me from Atlanta, I can come to Louisville and Memphis and see some games and be back here in Atlanta in a few hours. Well, that's just my
Yeah,
personal selfishness.
actually, there's a movement here that's led. There's an official group called NBA 2 Louisville, NBA numeral 2 Louisville, and it's headed up by Dan Issel, a longtime NBA ABA great. Dan Issel lives here, and that's his passion.
I hope it
We'll see.
happens.
There was just talk 2 weeks ago about Toronto coming here only for 1 year. because Toronto, as of right now, Canada will not allow teams from foreign countries in. Just like the Toronto Blue Jays had to play in Buffalo. Well, there was a movement trying to get Toronto to come use the Yum Center for 1 year. Who knows?
Yes, indeed. Well, Coach, thank God your conference comes this close to me, so I'll see you at Kennesaw. I'll try to see you at Lipscomb as well, because I know that those are right in my backyard. I still have a house in Nashville still, so I go up there pretty often. I still have a house there. So hopefully I can see you when we come play the Lipscomb and in Kennesaw.
I tell you what, now, Nashville's a heck of a college basketball town with Belmont, Lipscomb, Vandy, Tennessee State. That's a heck of a college basketball town. Middle, not very far away. That's a heck of a
Austin P as
college
well.
basketball town. Austin P, absolutely.
You got that
That's a
right.
heck of a college basketball area now. It's really underrated. It is. I know we won a region in '05 when I was at Louisville. We played the first 2 rounds on our way to the Final Four in Nashville, and boy, that town turned out. It was it was easy because Louisville was 3 hours away, and we had a great following. But that town, that NCAA tournament, that launched our road to the Final Four. The city of Nashville was incredible. That week was big time.
Oh yes, Dash loves some hoops, especially NCC tournament week. You go downtown, it's all
Yeah.
Kentucky blue and Vol orange. I mean, it's something to
Yeah.
see downtown on Broadway for sure.
Wow. That's great. I mean, I'm excited. And I know Lipscomb is a tremendous program. Coach Acuff was at Alabama Huntsville when I was at Bellarmine, and we played him my first 2 years here. And, I mean, I've got as much respect for Coach Acuff as anybody in the game. Trust me.
Yeah, my mom's a Lipscomb grad, and she loved Casey Alexander until he went over to Belmont. I just laughed at her. Said, you can't have him on your show anymore. He went over the Belmont. I said, Casey's my guy, Mama. I can't.
It's it's an underrated college basketball town. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, my mom still does me, Coach. I told Tennessee State don't over Lipscomb. She's still mad about me about that. I said, look, I had to go where I had to go where I had to go for free. it's, it's,
Good choice.
it was either Lipscomb, Tennessee State, or here at Georgia State. And I said I don't want to be here in Atlanta going to college. So I go up to Nashville. So I chose Nashville over staying here home here in Georgia State here in Atlanta. So that she said we should go with the Lipscomb, son. I said, well, nah, I went to Tennessee State. It was free. I had to pay to go to Lipscomb.
Good for you. That's a good idea. That's good financial decision right there.
At 17 years old, Coach. At 17. Like, I just chose it. My dad didn't care, but my mom did. My dad didn't care. He's like, wherever you want to go, son's fine with me. But mom was like, oh, Lipscomb. I'm a Lipscomb. I said, nah, they're not paying for my education. I'm going to Tennessee State. They're paying for it. Sorry. So we say about that, Coach, all the time. Lipscomb's, my mom to this day still gets on me about that all the time, Coach. All the time. I hear it at least twice a week. Yeah, talk. Yeah, you still just shun me, son. You shunned me. So
I married my wife. My wife graduated from the University of Kentucky, and and then I'm coaching at Louisville. And people said, "Well, how'd that go?" I said, "Well, she got her master's from U of L, so she finally wised up."
that's right.
It was okay.
Get out there, right? Well, Coach Davenport, thank you for your time this morning. It was fun to talk to you. We got to do this again real soon. I really enjoyed our talk today, Coach. I really did.
Boss, whatever I can do to help you out, partner, you let me know.